Hi there, I'm Conor Clyne, the language czar, and I'm a YouTuber. I have a YouTube channel about traveling and learning languages and using those languages when you're traveling. And in particular, you'll see me in my videos on YouTube in Eastern Europe a lot, especially in Ukraine. So recently, over the Christmas period, I'm speaking to you in February 2018, the Orthodox Christmas period, I spent it in Lviv in Western Ukraine, one of my favorite cities in all of Eastern Europe. And while I was there, I spent 2 weeks taking Ukrainian language classes at the Ukrainian language and the culture school with Solomia Book. And this is not my first time there. Now, back in October 2016, I spent a week at Solomia's school learning Ukrainian, basic Ukrainian, and then afterwards I spent a little bit of time in the city of Lviv. So this time I wanted to go back and experience an Orthodox Christmas, and Lviv is definitely the city to do that in. So I went back for 2 weeks and I had 3 hours of class per day, 5 days a week, in a group with maybe, I think it was about 4 other students, and the other students were a mixture of different nationalities, German, American, and they all had the same Turkish as well, not in my group, but in the other group. And they all had the same interest, obviously, because it's a little bit unusual to learn Ukrainian. And there was quite an intellectual group of students there, and I really enjoyed the camaraderie and the discussions. And that always helps when you're learning a language, when you have kind of a good rapport with other people around you, and you're in a beautiful city, and you just want to learn, you want to soak up the Ukrainian language like a sponge. So we had classes 3 hours a week, 5 days a week. And in addition to that, we had other cultural events. We went to museums, we went to art galleries, we even had a vareniki party. If you don't know what vareniki are, they're the dumplings that you'll see that are traditional Ukrainian and very, very tasty. So I got to learn how to make them, which was really cool as well. And Lviv, as I said, is one of my favorite cities in Eastern Europe, and it really just has so much to offer. It's got beautiful architecture, a very cozy atmosphere. It's not overrun by international tourism. There are a lot of Ukrainian tourists, but up until now, at least early 2018, it hasn't been invaded by international tourism, like, for example, Krakow has been in southern Poland. I was actually in Krakow just before I arrived in Lviv, and there it's very different. The architecture in Krakow is stunning, just like in Lviv, but the big difference is just the atmosphere. There aren't so many Polish people or people from Krakow walking around the main square there, but in Lviv they are. And that was one of the things I really enjoyed, was not just studying in the class, but also afterwards I got to go to amazing restaurants. The food in Lviv is delicious, the coffee culture is fantastic, and it was a lot easier for me in Lviv to meet local people, to meet people from Lviv, because they're just there on the main square. It's a really great atmosphere. So the classes, as I was saying, during those 3 hours, they were professionally run. They weren't always in the same place. The main place where the classes took place actually had a fantastic view onto the market square in Lviv, which is so beautiful. It had a big window onto it, lots of light. It was really fantastic. And then we went to some other universities and had classes there in addition. So I actually got to see parts of the city of Lviv that I wouldn't see normally because they're not right in the center. So that was also cool to get a better overview of the city itself. And then afterwards I got to, for me it's really important to be able to use the language with local people when you're there and really have a special experience, because learning a language is one thing, and going through the grammar and the vocabulary and building up that ability to communicate, but then you got to go and put it into practice. And I just made so many friends actually in Lviv while I was there, because I was able to speak Ukrainian. It's kind of a little bit special, I guess, as well. And I really used it every day. So did the other students. Either would hang out with them after class and go somewhere and we would practice Ukrainian in the restaurants, in the cafes, or I would go and work on my laptop, because of course I make videos and other content for YouTube and for my website, and I would hang out in cafes. But I got to meet so many people, and every day I got to really use the language. People were so warm and enthusiastic about a foreigner learning Ukrainian. And Solomia Book, she also introduced me, brought me in some additional cultural events where we went and I got to hear like traditional Ukrainian songs. They also had that organized within the class as well, to go and see the different cultural elements of Christmas, and to go to traditional restaurants and really get an insight into culture in Western Ukraine. So overall, I had an amazing time in Lviv for Orthodox Christmas as I was there. It's really, the snow was falling. It's such an amazing, kind of romantic atmosphere actually in Lviv, I find. Even though it's cold, it wasn't too cold. I think there was one day where it was like -8 or something Celsius, but otherwise it was like, you know, -2, -3, and just with that snow on the roofs, really just a special place in Europe. So I can really recommend that you go to Lviv in Western Ukraine for Orthodox Christmas, or during the summer where it's also going to be really beautiful. And if you are interested in learning Ukrainian, you want to have that, you know, extra special local experience when you go there, and really maybe you have Ukrainian roots and you really want to get in touch with them and learn the language, then definitely Solomia Books School, the Ukrainian language and cultural school, is a really great place to learn. So I can definitely give it big thumbs up, as I normally say at the end of my videos. So, do pobачення, which is goodbye in Ukrainian, if you didn't know that. And I wish you the best, and that one day, soon, you get to visit Lviv, Ukraine, and learn a little bit of Ukrainian. So, pa-pa.